Oh, okay. All right. It should be showing something else now there. Over.
I think I can't be. Let me refresh.
All right. This is 9Y4 Delta Golf. And right now, I just want to read a message that should be on the screen. The International Space Station astronauts are calling CQ to students. And what they're saying is that the amateur radio on the International Space Station IRIS program is seeking proposals beginning April 1st, 2019, from US schools, museums, science centers, and community youth organizations working individually or together to host radio contacts with an orbiting crew member aboard the ISS between January 1st, 2020 and June 30th, 2020. So I think this would be a very good activity for schools. Although they invite the US schools, I could talk from experience that in the previous incarnation of the IRIS program, there was the SAREX program. SAREX stands for Shuttle Amateur Radio Experiment. And although the SAREX invited schools in the US, I was able to have several conversations with students with the space shuttle in the early 90s. So it is possible, because the thing is, once they flying over this part of the world, there are very few schools and stations that are available, and therefore we have them to ourselves. So it's something that we should certainly capitalize on. So do we have any further check-ins for the net? This is 9Y4 Delta Golf. Dev, name is Dev. Over.
Yeah, Megan, sorry about putting it. It's on YouTube and it's coming over very, very clear as compared to on the radio. So everything is looking fine there now. There. Over.
Okay, thanks very much there, Bami, for that. Yeah, it's just because the poor acoustics of this room, and I apologize for that. There's no way I could fix it unless I make the room smaller, but that is not going to happen. So I apologize for that there, Barry. But the audio there should be perfect there, because using some commercial mics for that there, Barry. So thanks for the update there, Barry. 904 Juliet Alpha Golf, 9Y4 Delta Golf there, over.
Yeah, Raja, no problem. I thought Raja, not too long, we were just going to take off the costume and start to organize it. So, Raja go into the showers there, over.
Okay, Bobby. Thanks very much for coming up there as well. And looking at some, oh yes, here's the IRIS transmission. Let me just read this information here. Transmission begins at Thursday, April 11th, that's tomorrow, around 1800 UTC, and run continuously until approximately 1800 UTC on Sunday, April 14th. Okay, it's with Dr. All Hams, and just Google that, and you should get some information. You'll get a nice little award. If you submit your images, your downloaded images, I think they said that there are about 12 of them. The frequency, I said, again, is 145.8 megahertz. And the mode to use is Papa Delta 120 SSTV mode. That's a 2-minute transmission. This is 9Y4 Delta Golf inviting further check-ins. Please call. Nothing heard. All right, so we're looking at some QRZ news to see what is the. I see the ARL is looking to expand the technician bans. Not too sure what exactly they're planning to do. For those of you all who are on YouTube could see some of the images there of some of the proposed ban plans. All right, this is 9Y4 Delta Golf, inviting further check-ins for the TTARS TechNet. Any further check-ins, please call. Okay, this is 9Y4 Delta Golf, net control for the TTRS to Ethernet. Do we have any further check-ins with outdoor traffic? Please call. All right, there's a little article here in QRZ where scientists are predicting a massive ionosphere invasion. A team of scientists in the Chandra Dark Energy Observatory has shocked the physics world with a warning that Earth will soon undergo severe ionospheric inversion, according to their paper based on data gathered over the past year. They predict that our solar system will pass through the Orion arm of the central galactic disk of dark matter. As Earth traverses the sterile neutrino field at exactly 0314 UTC on Monday 1st, 2019, the normal high-handed chirality will abruptly swing oppositely to left-handed spin. According to the paper, this polarity reversal will induce non-solar iron-like effects into the Earth's magnetosphere, causing the F layers and D layers to reverse position. And those of you all who would have studied the ionosphere realize that the F layer is one of the outer regions. The D layer is closer to the Earth. So it means that there will be a switch in the positions of those layers. And that is a very interesting phenomenon. So just read the highlight there. So those of you who are looking at YouTube will see the F layer there in orange, the D layer in green, and of course, those two layers will switch positions. That could be very interesting. This is 9Y4 Delta Golf. Inviting further check-ins for the Ask Dev. If you have any questions, please feel free to pop it my way. This is 9Y4 Delta Golf Remote. Inviting further check-ins without questions. Over. All right, so meanwhile, we will look at some more interesting stuff that is happening in the amateur world. If we look at the propagation reports, we will see that Was there a check-in? Right, so things not looking too bright propagation-wise. 80 meter in the nighttime and 40 meter in the nighttime is fair. All other bands seem to be poor or closed. Thanks to digital voice, you can have propagation using cyberspace 24/7. Put on a digital voice radios at the various modes. It's amazing to see what is happening on those modes of communication. This is 9Y4 Delta Gulf, inviting further check-ins with outdoor traffic. Please call. 9 Zulu 4 Sierra. Good evening there, Gary. What do you have for the net? Any questions? They're over.
Yeah, pleasant evening to you there at control. 9 Yankee 4 Delta Gulf and our frequency. 9 Zulu 4 Sierra. Nothing much, yeah? I just checked in here. I wish everyone a pleasant evening. They're over.
Okay, Gary, just want to mention that we have a live component. So if you check the various WhatsApp chats, there's a live component that we looking at certain stuff on YouTube as well. So there's a link in there. Just click on it, and you will certainly get a much better experience than if you're listening to just the repeater there. Okay, sir?
Alright, I don't have a problem here understanding what you're saying here. I don't know if it's like an echo or something. It's not as clear as you normally would sound. I know you're in a room with an echo or something, but you mentioned about something happening in Tunapuna, they're over?
No, Gary, I said something is happening on YouTube. On YouTube. Check the WhatsApp chat. There's a link there. The WhatsApp chat, there's a link in there, Gary. So check that link, and you should be able to get audio and video experience of the net. They're over.
Alright, so I'll go across to YouTube and see. I think the last time we did the net also, I looked at it, I got the audio. It was a few seconds delay, but I did get it there. Alright, I'm there. Thanks for the information. I'll go across and see what's happening now. Over.
Excellent. And again, let me apologize for the audio, the live audio, but the YouTube audio is going to be perfect. And we apologize for the live audio because I can see what is happening here. The gain might be set a little bit too high. And I'm a little bit far from the microphone, so that's why you're picking up the echo. And I apologize for that again. This is 9Y4 Delta Gulf, inviting for the check-ins for the TTARS TechNet. Please call. All right, so I see that Iris is selling out. The bidding has begun. Out of this world, Iris auction is speeding along. It will run until tomorrow, which is April 14th at 2200 UTC. We have a nice radio here that you can bid for. This is the Kenwood, or the Kenwood TS890. I said you could own this one-of-a-kind, beautiful Kenwood TS890S. Your ham station will boast the only Kenwood in the world showcasing astronaut signatures. So that is up. Bidding will end, like I said, tomorrow at 6 p.m. local time. This is 9Y4 Delta Gulf, inviting further check-ins for the TTARS TechNet. Do we have any further check-ins? Please call.
904 Yankee.
Yeah, good evening there, Mark. 904 Yankee. Hope you're looking at the YouTube component of it as well. You have any questions for the Ask Dev component of the net? Yeah, over.
Good evening, 9 Yankee 4 Delta Golf, Net Control, and all the stations copying the net. Yeah, I'm following on YouTube as well there, thanks a lot. You did touch on the TTARS page there, and I saw something there. Okay, TRRL's proposal to extend the speak of the allocation and privileges for technician licenses, and that sort of thing. Let's say that they were successful, which will allow technician license holders to have some form of HF privileges. Do you think that that would extend locally as well? 9 Yankee 4 Delta Alpha Control, 9 Zulu for Yankee, over.
I don't think so, Mark, unless our powers that be, subscribe to the thinking of the ARL. Because remember, it's two different license classes. There's two different license classes there. Two different, I should say, administrative bodies. So they may not, or they may. I think, we probably need to alert them to it so that they may change their own legislation. But I think the reason for the technician class is, not to go international, but now with digital voice, and I think all bodies should recognize that with digital voice of the technician class, you could talk to the world. As a matter of fact, on digital voice, you find a lot of technicians there, and they say, because of the poor propagation, they're moving in slow motion to do their general and to upgrade their license, because having a general class doesn't really give them any more privileges, because although they have HF capabilities, there's no propagation to utilize that capability. But I certainly hope that our local administrative arm sees the wisdom in what ARL does and follows suit back over.
All right, QSL does a fine business there. All right, thanks a lot. Well, I just thought I'd ask the question as I saw up on the YouTube channel. Of course, on Facebook, on social media, there's a lot of discussions about that. Many different people had their own opinions and weigh into different things. I'd like to share one particular thing that one person said. I'll just generalize. The main reason for upgrading your license is for the extra extended privileges and operating privileges. So if somebody who just do one exam and you're a technician and you do have some HF, privileges, then you may not be so motivated to go on to general class or even more extra class and that sort of thing. So that's one of the things that one gentleman was saying on social media. All right, well, there's thanks for the response there. And I am following along on your Ask Dev segment this evening. Congrats on meeting that control for this evening. Doing a fantastic job as per usual. 9 Yankee 4 Delta Golf Net Control, 9 Zulu 4 Yankee, over.
Yeah, okay, Mark. Thank you very much there for those compliments there. Sounded good on the set as well, as you could hear yourself on YouTube. All right. Anything else, Mark, before we move on there? 904 Yankee, 9Y4 Delta Golf, there, over. All right, like Mark probably left there. All right, not a problem there. Okay, doke. This is 9Y4 Delta Golf. Do you have any further check-ins for the TTARS TechNet Ask Dev? Please call. All right, so we have a little prediction here for Solar 25 prediction panel. This came out about a week ago, last week, April 5th. It said scientists charged with predicting the sun's activity for the next 11-year solar cycle say that it's likely to be weak, much like the current one. The current solar cycle, which is cycle 24, is declining and predicted to reach solar minimum the period when the sun is least active in late 2019 or 2020. I guess that should probably be early 2020. Solar Cycle 25 prediction panel. Experts say Solar Cycle 25 may have a slow start, but is anticipated to peak with solar maximum occurring between 2023 and 2026, and a sunspot range of 95 to 130. This is well below the average number of sunspots, which typically ranges from 140 to 220 sunspots per solar cycle. The panel has high confidence that the coming cycle should break the trend of weakening solar activity seen over the past 4 cycles. We expect solar cycle 25 will be very similar to cycle 24, another fairly weak cycle predicted by a long, deep minimum, said panel co-chair Lisa Upton, PhD, solar physicist with Space System Research Corp. The expectation that solar cycle 25 will be comparable in size to 24 means that the steady decline in solar cycle amplitude seen from cycles 21 to 24 has come to an end, and that there is no indication that we are currently approaching a Maunder-type minimum in solar activities. And if I were to, what I'll do, I'll just Google this Maunder-type thing, because if I remember correctly, this Maunder-type thing there, let's Control-C, paste that there. This Maunder-type thing, let me just pause before I look at the Maunder-type cycle. This is 9Y4 Delta Golf. Any further check-ins for the net? Please call. All right. So the Maunder minimum, also known as the prolonged sunspot minimum, is the name used for the period around 1645 to 1715, during which sunspots became exceedingly rare and was then noted by solar observers. The term was introduced after John A. Eddy published a landmark 1976 paper in Science. So it was suspected that things was looking so bad, maybe about a year and a half ago, that they had suspected that we might undergo a Maunder minimum with solar cycle 25 and during solar cycle 25. But based on this last report, that seemed to have been dispelled, which is good news for the avid DXers and whatnot in our clip here in the TTARS. This is 9Y4 Delta Golf, inviting further check-ins. Please call. All right, we have 9 Zulu 4 Alpha Echo. Glenn. Good evening, Glenn. Glenn, I think you're in the Cavanagh area. You can correct me if I'm wrong. If you have any questions or anything for the net there, Glenn, it's the Ask Dev TechNet. If you have any questions, please shoot it our way. I may not profess to know everything, but I'm sure we have plenty bright people around, and we also have the internet, who plenty brighter than me. So what can we do for you there, Glenn? 9 Zulu 4 Alpha Echo, 9Y4 Delta Golf, remotely, over.
Okay, I just got home here. I just got going to see that. So just listening to hear what you know. But my signal is echoing a lot. So when I give it up, the empty over.
Okay, there, Glenn. For that, we apologize. We forget to apologize again. Yeah, the room that we're in there is not very conducive there, so it has an echo in it. And I'm pretty far from this particular computer that I'm using there. Let's see if I can bring it a little closer and see if that will help there. But that is what is causing it there, Glenn. But if you want to get a better experience, you could go on YouTube. If you go on the TTARS chat, there's a link on YouTube, and you will get a video as well as a much better audio experience, Glenn. Over.
Okay, I will give it a try here. All right, as I said, I just came in here to, in the meantime, while I get myself organized, I'll be listening. Over.
Okay, lovely. No problem there at all. All right. So you carry on there and check out the YouTube channel. It's much better experience there in terms of what you will be able to see. You'll see some of the stuff there as well on the chart. I'm Glenn. Take care. Thanks very much for coming up. Do you have any further check-ins for the net? This is 9Y4 Delta Golf. Please call over. Okay. All right. I saw another link here on the QRC page on the state of the hobby. I'm not too sure what it's about, but let me see. All right. They said on April 9th, released the results. The radio amateurs have spoken, and the results are in. I truly hope you read and enjoy the report below. It represents approximately 120 hours of blood, sweat, and tears each spring, donated out of love for amateur radio and a sense of duty to help in some way. Share these results with your clubs, ham friends, and family, and so on. But that's not the results. Oh, where are the results? I guess do I have to probably click on this page. Microsoft Sway. Hope you ask me to log into whatever. Okay, state of the hobby. Navigating the report. Survey sample. Okay, so that 3,786 responses, which is quite good. Okay, how did we hear about the survey? Let me see what what we could get. And those of you all who are on YouTube will see the responses. Most of the responses came from the US, and we had Europe bringing up a total of 291, Australia 53, South America 14, and the Africa's 13. The US with 3,415 respondents. So let's see what are some of the questions they asked. Okay. And one of the questions here is, how many weeks have you been studying? How many weeks have you been studying for your license? And I am having, right. So most people seem to be studying for the modal class, seem to be 2 weeks, followed by 1 week and 9+ weeks, and so on. What are some ways you're preparing for license testing? Most people seem to use printed materials or textbooks and online practice tests. Will you be tested for multiple levels of license when you sit? 54% said no, 46% said yes. This is interesting. I'll take a little pause. This is 9Y4 Delta Golf. Do you have any further check-ins for the TTARS TechNet? Ask Nell. Please call. Right, so in this test, which common areas of an amateur radio test are most worrisome to you? Well, most people seem to have problems with electrical components, circuit and diagrams, Second on the list was radio wave characteristic, properties, and propagation. Third was electrical principles, mathematics, and natural laws. Fourth was rules on operator and station responsibilities. Fifth was operating procedures. Sixth was modulation mode, satellite operational activities. And they seem to fare best in electrical safety. Were you encouraged to participate in the hobby from an Elmer or mentor? 71% said no, 29% said yes. And what about encouragement from other family members who in ham radio? 14% said yes, 86% said no. And how did you get interested in radio? It's interesting. Shortwave radio listening was the most people got involved in ham radio through shortwave listening. Second was emergency communication. Third is public service, and so on. So that's interesting. How many years have you been licensed? Well, of course, this will vary. Do you belong to at least one amateur radio club? 35% says no, 64% said yes. So we are not unique in Trinidad and Tobago. What areas of radio do you enjoy? This is interesting. DXing was the first one. Digital modes is second. Antenna design and construction is third. Local radioing is fourth. HF radioing is fifth. Net participation, I'm going down the list now. Homebrew kit building, mobile operation, emergency communication, CW, contesting, QRP, and the list goes on and on. Very interesting stuff here. Oh, this is interesting. Being well-rounded band, that is 40 meters, continues to be the top dog for reported band activity. 20 meters was fell by 2 meters this year, sliding down to number 3 spot. I'm guessing, okay, on which bands do you frequently operate? And I guess this is the modes. Which digital data modes do you frequently operate? The top mode is FT8. Why am I not surprised? Secondly, it's PSK 31, then RTTY and APRS, and going down the list. So that's interesting. In terms of band operation, the first band is 40 meters, followed by 2 meters, followed by 20 meters, then 70 centimeters, then 80 meters, 10 meters, 15, 17, 36, 12, 160, and so on. This is a very useful survey, I must say. It's on QRC page, so you could look at the details yourself. The question here is, which voice modes do you frequently operate? Of course, SSB, and this is interesting. This has some very interesting stuff. SSB, which is USB or LSB. And then we had FM. And then we have DMR with 822 respondents. And then Fusion with 583 respondents. And then AM with 577 respondents. And then D-Star with 511 respondents. and P25 with 89 respondents. This is interesting. Just a little comment. No surprise here. SSB leads the pack for voice modes, followed closely by FM and DMR. FM by FM. DMR seems to be making an impact as well, representing the third most popular voice mode. DMR seems to have the best, have to have beat out both Fusion and D-Star, which is a noted trend. Lastly, P25 made it on the boards for the second time. It will be interesting to watch this trend evolve. Okay. And I have some CW statistics here. Most people seem to be operating up to about 20 words a minute. Very few will operate up to about 60 words a minute. Nobody operated over 60 words a minute. So this really is a pretty good survey on ham activity worldwide. Very interesting survey, I must say. This is 9Y4 Delta Golf, inviting further check-ins for the 2-meter tech net. Of course, this net is known as Ask Dev. If you have any questions, ask us. We have the internet up. If I don't know it, we could simply Google it. Any further check-ins, please call.
Recheck?
Yeah, go recheck.
Okay, this is 9Y4 Delta Alpha. There were two things I was supposed to send out to all who would be like net controllers was to give these guys with the Lighthouse Project a club. The second thing was just to remind the membership, those who haven't paid their dues as yet, that it's possible to pay via direct deposit club's account at the Republic Bank. Well, it's with the Republic Bank. The main branch is in Sin City there. So they can remit their payments to that and just send me an email of the receipt and they'll be logged in there. All right, that was all I had. The information was propagated via social media on both the TTARS, what's the other one, and a couple of them. Those guys are not on those two. I guess I'll have to give them the information over there.
Yeah, okay there, Dave. What I will suggest is that maybe every 2 weeks or so, you send out the info again, because nobody really going to scroll way back and try to look for that bank account number. So it might be best to send it out every 2 weeks or so, a fresh message in the event that you have the urge to remit funds to the TTARS. Please use the following account. Over.
Yeah, that's a way out of it there. And also via the system. All right, I think we have a bigger call on Sunday, so I'll save it for then. Let's have some specific lines here now. All right, that was all for me. 9Y4 Delta Boat, 9Y4 Delta Alpha. I think I heard several people tell you about your audio. It's really bad. When I go across the room, like my room echoes out the echoes, and then I can hear you a little better. You sound perfect on the internet, on the app. I see about the problem fixed there because at the time too, I saw two soldiers operating a machine gun. So I thought, that doesn't look like them. All right, that's it. 9Y4 Delta Boat, 9Y4 DG-10th.
Yeah, okay, Dave. It's because of what I'm using on 2 meters here. It's a computer that is probably about almost 2.5 feet away from me. So it's picking me up on all the acoustics in the room there, whereas the speaker I'm using, the mic I'm using for the internet, it's probably just about a foot away. So that's why it's hearing a lot more perfectly there. So I apologize for that there, Dave, but so we could fix that on the next go around there. So thanks again for coming up. And I'm glad that you listened to it on the YouTube as well. So it can be posted anytime. Alrighty. So thanks for coming up. Any further check-ins for the net? It's now 9 p.m. local time, 21:01 Well, 0101 UTC. Any further check-ins for the net? Please call. All right, nothing heard. So we had the following stations joining us this evening. 9Y4 Delta Alpha, 9Y4 Delta Tango. We had 9 Zulu 4 Juliet Alpha Golf. We also had Kim 94 Kilo Mike, who was listening on their YouTube channel. 9Z4 Sierra, 9Z4 Yankee, and 9Z4 Alpha Echo. We take one standby again for any last minute check-ins before we wrap things up here on this net. This is 9Y4 Delta Golf, inviting last minute check-ins. Please call. Nothing good. So we'd like to thank each and everyone for joining us this evening. And the net will meet again on Sunday, when I'm sure Dave will have another net controller. And of course, next week, Wednesday, when someone else will be in control. This is 9Y4 Delta Golf. Again, thanking everyone for either tuning into YouTube or to listen to the net on the repeater. Again, I apologize for the very poor audio on the repeater. But if you want to hear me best, I guess the YouTube channel, you could probably play it over there, and it should sound a little more humanly. Cemeteries all, have yourself a good night, and enjoy the rest of the week. This is 9Y4 Delta Golf, saying cemeteries and good night to all.